Chris Chan, an internet legend in his own right and creator of Sonichu, has been arrested and charged with incest in Virginia after conversations leaked where Chris seemed to indicate that he had had sexual relations with his elderly, possibly incapacitated mother. Let's talk about what's going on. I have a feeling this one won't be monetized. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. Make sure you don't miss any videos, okay? Here we go. We're going to jump right into this. Here's the article from Newsweek. Now, I have been talking about this a little bit at the end of last week. I discussed what was alleged on Kiwi Farms, and I had a very, very in-depth live stream with the backstory on this. Look, guys, this is a nasty, gross subject. And so, fair warning as you dig down the rabbit hole of who is Chris Chan and why does this person keep showing up in news stories and on Twitter and all of that. If you're not familiar, it's an ugly one, okay? But I did do a live stream. That'll be linked down in the description below here. And in that live stream, I interviewed Josh, the owner of Kiwi Farms, who was helping Chris in some ways prior to this. And a whole lot has happened since. And Josh has apparently withdrawn any support for Chris Chan based on what followed. All right. So at the time we were discussing it, it was all preliminary, but now those theoretical discussions have become reality with Chris Chan's arrest. And I'm not going to show the video of it because it's not really relevant to this discussion, but the scoop on the arrest did come from Ethan Ralph of the Kill Stream. And you may see some video of that. Ralph was actually somehow on scene during the arrest of Chris Chan and managed to get it on video and to get some statements back and forth. I encourage you to take a look at that if you're interested in one Virginian filming another Virginian getting arrested. I mean, if that's what you're into, if you like that Virginian on Virginian action, that's what you should do. But we're going to be talking today about this charge, how it looks and how it works in Virginia. There's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding that I've seen floating around on Twitter, and hopefully this video will clear that up with some citations to Virginia law. All right. I hope that'll work here, but that's what we're here for. Let's check out the story from Newsweek. All these sources will be down in the description if you want to click on them. Chris Chan arrested for incest in Virginia. Internet personality Chris Chan has been arrested on a charge of incest. The 39-year-old artist, blogger, and YouTube star, whose official name is Christine Westland Chandler. Isn't it Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu? Or was that just an attempt that was never followed through on? Is being held at Henrico County Jail West in Virginia. Now, Henrico County is not where the charges are. Oh, that's covered in the next thing. In a statement issued to Newsweek, Henrico County Sheriff Alyssa Gregory said Christine Weston Chandler is currently being held in our Jail West facility on one count of incest and awaiting arraignment in Greene County, Virginia. Sheriff Gregory was unable to provide any further information relating to the arrest other than to say the criminal charges are not for Henrico County but Greene County. We're just housing until transport can be arranged. This has a lot to do with the arrest being done apparently in Henrico County and over a weekend. So I assume Chris will be moved. If Chris has not already been moved, that will happen sometime very early this week, and an arraignment hearing will be held and a potential bond will be set. So far, I'm not aware of any bond being set at this point, but there is a limited time that police can actually hold you without having a probable cause hearing and then some sort of bond hearing or first appearance. Chan is best known for the Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon comic crossover character Sonichu, which has been the subject of numerous artworks since 2004. She also created the character of Rose Chu, Sonichu's love interest in the series. 39-year-old has nearly 60,000 followers on Twitter, posting under the handle, I'm not going to try and read that, quote, I am Miss Mrs. Christine W. Chandler Sonichu, goddess of the nations of Quickieville, and the Commodore consuls, and the creator of Sonichu and Rosechu, she/her, the account's bio states. Now, I'm not going to get any more. This is just some backstory on Chris Chan, but here you can see the inmate detail from Henrico County. We've got Christine Weston Chandler. They do, it's not on here, but they do have her booked as a female. Look, I don't really care about the pronoun game, and I'll switch back and forth between them freely, because it just doesn't matter to me, but that's what's going on. And the charge description is incest with own child or grandchild. The charge description here is irrelevant. I mean, in this case, it would be incest with own parent, I guess, would be the thing. But it's just the typical thing that they're going to be running into is parents having inappropriate contact with their children. That's the normal case of these charges. But let's take a look at the incest statute, and we will muddy through this thing. Here it is in Virginia, and we're going to be looking, it's 18.2-366, and we're going to be focusing on subsection B. Subsection A makes this a class 1 misdemeanor for anyone to have sexual intercourse with a person they are forbidden to marry, except as provided by subsection B, which makes it a class 3 felony. So in this case, Chris is going to fall squarely under subsection B. Now, let's read the statute and talk briefly about it, and then we'll go ahead and talk about why Chris seems to be, at this point, guilty of this. So, quote, any person who engages in sexual intercourse with his daughter or granddaughter, son or grandson, or father or mother is guilty of a class 5 felony. However, if a parent or grandparent engages in sexual intercourse with his child or grandchild, and such child or grandchild is at least 13 years of age, but less than 18 years of age at the time of the offense, such parent or grandparent is guilty of a class 3 felony. So this is going to be class 5 felony. Both parties are of the age of majority. In this case, Chris Chan is something like 39, and Barb, the elderly mother, is something like 79 years old. So we've got almost a 40-year age gap going, but we also have both of them being well beyond legal age of 18. And so this is not a case where it's going to be a class 3 felony. So some people on the internet are getting hung up on the language of this statute, and in part it's because they're reading actually the 2014 version of the statute. This statute was updated in 2020. This statute has been upheld as constitutional. So Virginia is a weird case for marriage and relationships. It is the home of one of the most famous Supreme Court cases of the past. I say of the past decade, even though the case was decided back in the 60s. But it's Loving versus Virginia. This case became very, very prominent recently due to issues around interracial marriage, gay marriage, transgender, and bisexual marriages and relationships. Loving versus Virginia was the case that made interracial marriages legal, not only in Virginia, but across the country, that was a protected constitutional right. So Virginia has kind of this history of these sort of things. Now, with that, I will say that they did not make incest legal yet. This is still good law. There is no existing case law overturning this or limiting the statute in any such way. But people were looking at the 2014 version of the statute, which has some interesting gendered language. And it was based on societal norms, right? It was based on, I shouldn't call this a societal norm, but the idea of heteronormative relationships. And so the gendered language typically included his and her in relation to a father having intercourse with his daughters and a mother having intercourse with her sons. Those were the sort of implicated by the gendered language of the statute relationships. I would humbly suggest that gendered language, I haven't seen any cases where that was used to overturn any convictions, or where that was used as a point to allow someone to get out of it because they happen to be in a same-sex relationship with their child or parent. I haven't seen that at all, so I don't think that really was an issue where it's like, oh no, you're fine because this is still Virginia. Okay. But that being said, in 2020, they updated the language, they modernized it, and it does start with any person. So that should go ahead and dispel anything. And the pronoun that is used in all of the statute is his. His either way, doesn't matter. His daughter or granddaughter, son or grandson, father or mother. That does not make mothers unable to commit the crime of incest. His is a gender neutral term in Virginia, and I can actually show you this. There's a statute on it. It's section 1-216, gender. And this is Article 2 of the Rules of Construction and Definitions for all of Virginia statutes. So this is very, very important piece of Virginia law. It says a word used in the masculine includes the feminine and neuter. So they made everything gender neutral with that mere statement. So don't get hung up on the hises and the hers or whatever in the statutes you may be reading in Virginia. So the question is, did Chris Chan engage in sexual relations with someone who is a mother to them? And I think the answer to that, according to Chris's statements, is yes. Now, whether or not sexual intercourse actually occurred will be a fact question. The facts right now are based on an audio recording where Chris describes the act, as well as some messages with an internet user where Chris also describes the act in horrific detail. And again, if you want to see those and hear those are covered on the live stream that I did the other day about this. We went through all of the horrifying details of it. And based on Chris's words, they do seem to be indicating that he engaged in the unlawful activity in this case. So the fact questions at trial would be the government establishing those facts and Chris trying to refute them. Consent is not a defense in this case. Consent is not a defense in cases of incest in Virginia. And neither is, there's an internet theory going on that Chris doesn't identify himself as Barb's daughter or son because Chris is some sort of transcendental being from another dimension or whatever. Even if the court were to entertain such notions, the idea of a non-blood relation does not actually protect you either. We do see, for the purposes of this section, parent includes step-parent, grandparent includes step-grandparent, child includes stepchild, and grandchild includes step-grandchild. And as Barb has been, if nothing else, the step-parent for Chris Chan, then I think we're covered there as well. That is of course just silly internet theorizing, but no, this looks very much to be a very real charge. Chris's defense would have to include basically Chris saying it didn't happen and Barb saying it didn't happen, and Chris talking about the statements on the internet being complete fictions, a part of the Sonichu universe. I don't know. Something like that would have to go. There are potential pending other charges here that are possible. I don't want to get too hypothetical, but sexual assault or some sort of sexual battery charge in Virginia would be possible depending on what Barb is going to say about this, or if Barb has the capacity to consent in the first place. We don't really know the full mental state of Barb, or if there even is. Barb, by the way, is Chris's mother, in case that wasn't clear. But we don't know if Barb is capable of making these decisions, capable of consenting to this type of activity. If Barb consented to the activity, it's possible that Barb would be charged similarly with incest. This crime goes both ways. And if Barb did not consent or is determined to be unable to consent, we could see one of those sexual battery charges pop up on Chris as well. For now, the only crime they have evidence of sufficient to arrest in the state of Virginia would be the admissions made by Chris Chan indicating incest. So that's what the charge is at this point. But nothing would stop subsequent charges being added as further information comes to light. So there you go. I hope that covers pretty much all of the legal sort of ideas going on here. Again, I want to stress that the incest statute is good law. It was revised as lately as 2020. It has not been overturned by anything. I know there's all sorts of questions about how far courts will go with woke culture. Maybe this is the case that will go to the Supreme Court to allow incestual love relationships the constitutional rights that they deserve or something. It's funny because it's sadly possible, but it's unlikely. This would be a bad test case on that, I think. But that being said, this is still good law. This charge is still being applied in Virginia, and there's nothing that indicates that there would be a legal loophole to eliminate this charge for Chris. It's going to be a fact question at this point. I will be following along. If you want to follow along, again, hit subscribe, and also, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this god-awful situation. God bless the internet. Peace. Peace.